Hello everyone, it's Leslie from Your Yummy Tummy Chef, and today I'm going to be making delicata squash, and I'm going to be baking it, by the way. I hope everyone is well, and I'm looking forward to making this dish, and I'm looking forward to having you watch me do it. Okay, so what we need for this dish are very simple ingredients. Delicata squash. For anybody that doesn't know, this is what it looks like. I happen to have two of them. However, I don't think we're going to get much out of this one, but we will get a lot out of this one. I would say that this probably makes about 2 servings or so. I don't know how much it weighs because I don't remember what it weighed, but I would say it's like this feels like a pound, maybe half a pound. I don't know, but they're still out there, and if you can find them, they're so good. So you should definitely try this out when you have a chance. Okay, we need a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of honey, or you can use maple syrup, or you can use agave, which is what I'm going to use today, just because I like the taste of agave and it's not as strong, but that's up to you, whatever you want to do. So, oh, and very important, some olive oil. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you how to prepare the delicata squash. And the way we do that is we cut off the ends, this end, and then just a little bit of this end. And where's my dump tray? I always tell people to save these containers that you get from either veggies or meats or whatever. Make sure you wash them very well. And in it goes, into my dump tray. It's so easy that way, believe me, it is so much easier. Then we're going to cut this in half. You really need to have a sharp knife to do this because the skin is thick. So it helps to have a sharp knife. And in general, it's really a good idea to have sharp knives because, and this is sharp, because the scariest thing you can have in your kitchen is a dull knife. And it is the way in which one can actually injure themselves very fast. Because imagine this. Imagine if I was cutting a tomato. This was a tomato. I know that this is not a tomato. But imagine if it was. And you take your knife and you're trying to cut it, right? And it's so dull, it'll just slide right off, and it could slide right into your finger. So not good. Always make sure you have sharp knives. Okay, so now here we are. You see there's seeds in there. We don't want those. They will not be edible, at least as far as I can tell. Now, the way I do this is either with a spoon or a grapefruit spoon. I like to use a grapefruit spoon more often because the grapefruit spoon allows me to really kind of get this done very quickly because it has these serrated edges here. So I just kind of scoop all this out, and look how nicely it comes out. 1, 2, 3. And this again is really a great recipe if you're just kind of winging it for dinner. I would definitely consider this a side dish, and not as a main dish. Although if you wanted to use it as a main dish, then I would add maybe some rice. You could add to the rice some mushrooms and put some peas in there or some beans if you're a vegetarian. Just add to your rice and then have, or you could add the rice to this with the same things, with beans and what have you. But you'd have to alter the ingredients somewhat because this is on the sweeter side. And if you wanted to make this a savory dish versus sweet, then you would have to alter the ingredients, like I said. Okay, so here we are. We're just about done. All the seeds are gone. And incidentally, before you do this cutting, just be aware of the fact that you need to definitely scrub the outside of this because you're going to be eating the outside of this as well as the inside. So I've already done that. I've already washed these guys, And so now I'm going to take care of this guy. You can keep these things for a long, long time. Squash tends to stay for a while. Now this particular baby here, I've had for a while. So there is one part of it that is probably not going to be useful for me. But here we go. Again with the spoon. And a little funny story. My son, who lives in Maine and is going to school there in college, he loves to eat. And I raised him so that he would try a lot of things. And he loves to cook too. So he's a really good cook, which is very helpful. Anyhow, he just discovered delicata squash. And he's now in love with delicata squash, as I'm sure you will be too. All right, so we're just about done. See how easy it is with the grapefruit spoon? When you have a bigger squash, like a butternut squash or something like that, probably it's best to use a bigger spoon. But these are so little, you know, they're really not that big. Anyway, that's my trick. Okay, so now we have this all cut up. Let me throw this out, by the way. Not the tip, not the plastic thing, but the stuff that's in it. And then get rid of whatever seeds you have remaining hanging on. Then what you're going to do, very simply, is cut this. You want to do it with the flesh side, not the skin side, down. The skin side down, and you're going to cut it so that you've got like 1/2 inch slices that are like about this wide. Okay, so here we go. And remember, you want to make your slices consistently the same size, because if they're not, they will cook differently, and the wellness will be compromised. So, this one I'm just cutting off because I know that on one side there it didn't look too good. So, I'm just going to cut this like this. Again. Now this is a smaller one, so it's actually, you know, going to show, it's actually going to be smaller in size. So it might cook a little bit faster, but it's nothing to be writing home about. And certainly nothing to be worried about. I just noticed that I have some more seeds here. Oh, heavens to Betsy. And for those of you that are named Betsy, heavens to you. Okay. Get off there. So now we're doing the same thing here. I'm going to kind of eyeball it here. That should be about 1/4 cup, but you can measure it at home if you wish. I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, maybe a little more, and just a little bit of pepper. If you're really into pepper, then put more pepper on. But frankly, I'm not a big pepper fan, but I just like to use a teeny bit. And I also like to use white pepper. Woo! That just went into my nose. Surprised I'm not sneezing. And then I'm going to add about a good healthy amount of honey or agaves, which is what I'm using. Then we take our spoon, we give it a good mixing so that it gets coated all over the place. And then we throw it into our container, our baking dish rather. And then we throw it into our baking dish. So I'm going to just spray this just so that it doesn't get baked into the dish. I'm going to use my butter cooking spray, or you could use coconut oil spray if you wish, and just give it a nice coating in there. and I'm going to dump it in. And I'm going to use a spatula just to get some of that good stuff in there. Ouch. See all that stuff? Good. Right. Now, you should cover this. So you need to get a dish that has a lid to it that you can cover it with. And for the first 10 minutes or so, keep it covered. You're going to bake this in an oven that's been preheated to 400, or if you want a little bit more, like more 420 or so, 425 at the most. And it's going to take you about a good 25 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but you'll know it's ready when you stick a fork into it and it's completely soft, and you can almost practically cut it with a fork. Okay, so in it's going to go. I just have to get my lid. Okay, here's my lid, and into the oven it goes. And here it goes. Okay.